The latest Philly Fed manufacturing index falling to a two-year low in April, with prices paid rising to their highest level since July of 2022. Meantime, the National Association of Manufacturers' first quarter outlook survey found a majority of manufacturers said trade policy was the biggest challenge facing their business. For more, we got Jay Timmons, National Association of Manufacturers CEO, joining us in studio. Jay, can't think of a better person to talk to about how manufacturers are actually feeling about this tariff policy. What are you hearing?
Yeah, feeling is the right question, because they're concerned. There's no question they're concerned. Look, the way that we grow manufacturing in the United States is to lower the cost of doing business. So think in terms of tax policy. We're still waiting for Congress to act on renewing the 2017 tax reforms, regulatory rebalancing, and to their credit, the administration is tackling that right now. We want to also see an expansion of domestic energy production. That should be coming as well. But the tariffs and the trade policy that's been announced, pulled back, announced again, that's causing a lot of uncertainty for manufacturers. And so they're kind of taking a pause and waiting to see what's coming next, because we don't know.
We don't know, and that uncertainty is certainly playing on the market. But I'm curious, President Trump would say, I want to help you guys. I want to bring manufacturing back to the United States. What is the misconception?
Well, first of all, we appreciate that. And I don't think that there is any question that Donald Trump wants to grow manufacturing in the United States. That has been a mantra for him since he decided to run for political office. The key is, again, making sure that we have that certainty and that we have a reduction in the cost of doing business. So we're waiting to see what happens in the next 90 days. The president has said he's going to get these deals done. Manufacturers need to see progress on that. We were happy to see that today the Prime Minister of Italy is there talking about basically a zero for zero tariff regime, which means that we can participate in free trade with Europe if that is acceptable. We also want to make sure that as we're negotiating these agreements, that we're pulling out some critical materials like critical minerals and chemicals and machines that are used on the shop floor. That's going to be really critical. And then hopefully there's going to be some focus on an incentive for manufacturers who are actually investing here, but still having to pay tariffs.
And Jay, I want to bring in Stuart Kaiser from Citi, who's also here with us. Stuart, you have a question?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned certainty, but what if the certainty is very high tariffs? I mean, do you think there is still room for manufacturing sentiment to decline if we get certainty, but it is a pretty high number?
Well, it could, Stuart. I mean, I honestly don't know that. I would say that what I hear most from manufacturers, and I've talked to more manufacturers in the last couple of months than I think I have in the last few years, because they all want to know, okay, what's next, what's next, what's next? And I'm assuming that the president has a plan to move forward, and it seems to be contained within these 90 days. The certainty is going to be critical. But to your point, if the certainty is higher tariffs worldwide, then that is going to cause concern, not just for manufacturers, but certainly for consumers here in the United States. I think you've seen those indications, you even mentioned it on your in the last segment, that you're likely going to see inflation start to kick in again, and that's not good for anybody. So we're hoping that's not the case.
I mean, are there some manufacturers that are happy about these tariffs, that they do feel like it'll give them a little bit of an advantage globally, or is that just such a small minority?
I think that's a great question, because in the first Trump administration, tariff policy was really aimed at some bad policy decisions that were made by other countries, and you think China in particular. So think in terms of dumping or subsidization or the theft of intellectual property. The 301 tariffs were really, they were designed to get at those issues. You saw the 232 tariffs, and so you see some steel makers in the United States that appreciate those. Now, that has knock-on effects, obviously, for other parts of the economy. But yeah, there are some that like to see some level of tariff, but I don't necessarily think anybody wants to see a global tariff that really significantly increases costs, because that's bad for everybody.
And I'm curious if we can talk about the labor impact here for a moment, because there have been some mixed messages on that from the White House. Howard Lutnick saying that a lot of the labor might be automated if manufacturing is brought back to the States. And then we had Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent telling our network that the labor that it would bring back is not necessarily very high skilled, meaning it wouldn't be high paying. How would you describe the type of laborer that manufacturers are looking for right now?
I think I'm going to go somewhere in the middle of all that, because right now we have 500,000 open jobs in manufacturing, Madison, and manufacturing is the highest paid sector on average of any sector of the economy. So we want to fill those jobs with really high-skilled technical individuals who can do the work. And we hope to grow more jobs here, and they will be in need of, we will be in need of kind of those higher levels of skills which pay more, and they're rewarding careers that last an entire lifetime.
Given the openings you just mentioned, how concerned are you about the immigration policy changes that haven't even taken effect yet?
Yeah, quite a bit, actually. Look, if you want to hire people in this country, you've got to have people to hire. And I don't think anybody wants to see, obviously, we don't want to see bad actors here. We want people who come here to come here legally, not illegally. So I think Congress needs to reinvent our immigration system so that we're focused on the economic priorities of this country. We have not done that for decades, and it's caused all of this chaos in the immigration system in both Republican and Democrat administrations. It's time to fix that. Congress has the power to do it, and they ought to take on that challenge because it's good for everybody and it's good for helping to fill. It's not the total solution, helping to fill those jobs that are open all across the economy.
Jay Timmons, thank you so much for coming in. Really
Thank you.
appreciate it. Thank you.